we know what lights us up and we know what turns us off. And it's just unclear to us that we are actually in the driver's seat and we can move closer to the things that turn us on and light us up and move further away from the things that don't, and be true to ourselves, be authentic. That is available to us. And again, being aware of privilege, even just the motion toward that thing creates connections and creates momentum and inertia and energy, which is vital to do anything worth doing.
Let's play the other side of it. Let's assume,
Sure.
And I think this is age agnostic. I think you could be, I mean, let's face it, a lot of bad things are happening right now. And my friends who have jobs, or careers, they're all dropping like flies. Even the most talented, high up, safest, let's say safe with quotes, they are getting furloughed, let go, fired, whatever you want to call it. And they might be in their 40s and 50s and they need to reboot. Scary stuff. But let's assume, play the other side of it, that we don't know what lights us up. We have an inclination, I like this, I like that. Let's go back to what you started to allude to, what I think Sir Ken Robinson would call your element, bird in the air, fish to the water. It's not always as obvious as we might think. You might have these ideas like, oh, I want to be a doctor because that sounds good, or maybe the salary is great, or I want to help people, or I want to be a photographer because I want to capture experiences as they happen. I want to see the world. But how do we truly identify? And let's say maybe some of these people have 2, 3, 4, 5 options. How do we pick one? How do we know what our passion is? How do we know what we should go towards?
Love this question, Brian. And I love it because it's so, it's tactical. Everyone has been there, or if you haven't been there, you're about to be there, or you just came from there, or this is something that so many of us know. And to me, these are the things that we ought to be teaching, our young people, is how, to journey this direction rather than sort of out there. And for me, I like to, align around a phrase, and the phrase is action over intellect, because this notion that you put forward there, like, oh, well, we might want to be a doctor, or might want to be, that's all those things are coming to us from the couch, right? Our ass is on the couch and we're thinking about what we might want to be and do. And that's part of the trap. Yeah. And the trap is multidimensional. Again, it comes from people that care about us. It comes from culture. It comes from this thing that, this is the brain. This is not our brain. This is a piece of, it's a tissue that we need to get to work for us. Its job is not there to make you happy or fulfilled or connected. Its job is to make you alive. And so by, if you sort of triangulate all those things that I just mentioned, if we are able to take action over intellect. Not sure if you want to be a doctor, go volunteer at an emergency room. Yeah. Not sure if you want to be a, fill in the blank, go do that. Get close to these things, because it's in that closeness and in action that we actually come to understand something, versus this brain trying to tell us if we're going to like something or not. The research is really clear. It turns out we're really bad at predicting what will make us happy until we do something.
Yeah. I love this idea of trying it on for size. I love it because sometimes it's the only way. It's like process of elimination. You get into it and you're like, this doesn't fit well. I don't love it. I can't do this for the rest of my life. Yeah. That's
or even for a week. Like I volunteered again, part of, your application to medical school is X hundreds of hours of, community service and volunteer work. And I worked in Children's Hospital around sick kids with the goal of like changing them, because what amazing if you could, anytime a child is sick, it's just, I feel so gutted. And so I wanted to dedicate but that was all intellectual. That was like from reading books and like, wouldn't it be cool to save kids and, help make, awesome. And then you go work in a hospital and I'm like, oh, I'm not cut out for this. And, for, for X litany of reasons. So this action over intellect is something that's very, again, I write a lot about that in my book, Creative Calling. And it's something that I've come to know. And, through my podcast and through Creative Live, it just so happens that, hundreds of the world's top performers that are my peers that I've had on my show, or, this is a very consistent theme There was an aspiration from far away, and then there's an application of effort towards it. And it's the application of effort that really reveals whether or not this is a good fit, this is a good fit or not.
Let's qualify that. I know we both have a mutual friend in Seth Godin, and Seth probably gave me he's given me some of the best advice ever.
Amazing person.
One thing that sticks out as it relates to this is he said the person who fails the most wins, because built into that notion is that you get to keep trying until you figure it out. The person who fails is the person who never tries at all. Or we're not just talking about trying stuff on. Now that person fails too far that they can't come back and play another day. It's, think of it like, I'm going to jump out of the airplane, but I forgot my parachute. You got one shot at it. And that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about fail fast, low risk, try it on for size. There's an exit clause.
Yeah. Get close to the things you're curious about.
You haven't spent your life savings to do it. There's a way out if it doesn't work out. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is there are very few doors that once you walk through them, you can't walk back out of them, especially in the arena of professional or career experience. You can try so many of these things on for size. And to further the Seth Godin, moment, he and I were just on the phone together this last week, actually. And he talks about it in terms of unlimited bowling. Look, when you paid $20 to go bowling, you grab your ball and you look up there and you realize you've got 10 frames. You got 10 bowls, 10 shots. Or when you used to put a roll of film in a camera, you're like, I got 36 exposures. And now the world has dramatically shifted. Bowling does not actually define, it is, or this notion of 10 frames in bowling it paints a false picture of life, that life is limited and constrained and has all these aspects of, you can say, oh yeah, life is short and blah, blah. I think life is long, trying on things and pursuing them. And what if you had unlimited bowling? Wouldn't you throw all kinds of balls and learn to spin it and throw it straight and get strikes and spares? And sure, you'd blow a few things. But this idea that we only get 10 rolls or 36 exposures in a camera, now when we take a picture with this thing, I don't know about you, I got 67,000 pictures on my iPhone. Mm-hmm. That's because it doesn't cost us anything to take another shot or to roll another ball down the lane. And that is a notion that is not, I think, popular, or there's not a lot of awareness around that. And that's part of what, to further your point on Seth, I think that's a really important part of tasting lots of things, of exploring your curiosity.
Thank you to so many of you who've said this channel is way undersubscribed, and I couldn't agree more. But hey, I also like being one of the best kept secrets on YouTube. So let's not tell anyone that we're here. Let's just keep it between us, and we'll keep making amazing content just for you.
Where I'm going. But like I say, man, always said it. It's not about the destination. It's all about the journey.